Welcome, everyone. My name is Dice,
My name's Austin.
and you are listening to the wonderful sounds of Leadership of the Leaf.
Welcome.
Mr. Austin, sir, what are you smoking on today?
Tonight, I am actually smoking on the Southern Draw Jacob's Ladder. How about you?
I'm going to go with Rocky Patel's Disciple.
A good choice. Although I haven't had many Rocky Patels, I need to broaden my palate for sure. I love every Rocky Patel that I've had.
I've only had this a few times, probably about as many times as I had a Jacob Ladder.
Really?
So, yep, I'm going to do a deep V cut for this bad boy.
I actually did the exact same. Of course, I toasted it first, which is lighting the end a little just enough to kind of get that burnt draw to seal in some of that flavor. It's burning real well. I enjoy these smokes. I enjoy Southern Draw. Of course, they're a military-owned company, so I always enjoy them.
Well, we always support our veterans, right?
Absolutely.
All right, my cigar size, what size is this? A Toro? Toro is what, 6 by 52?
Yep. So there's this thing in the cigar industry, and it's what flavor notes do you get? And I like to try to compare what I get versus what everyone the makers actually say that I'm supposed to get. Sometimes you get those, oh, this is gonna earth, or this is leather or something, and I get something completely different, something I never even taste out of that cigar. And it's always interesting to me how everybody's palate changes person.
Well, they say the notes and flavor profile is all subjective, so I'm not sure who's doing the subjecting.
Yeah, usually if it's a cigar reviewer like Cigar Aficionado, Cigars International, or whoever's writing.
Do you find yourself normally matching up with what they say, or you normally go out on your own and I'm not getting any of that?
I would say that it's about probably 70-30 I match up with them. This one is I'm supposed to get notes of cedar and spice and espresso, which I definitely get the espresso, not cedar. Now, if you want a cedar cigar, you should go with the Cedrus, which I believe is also by Southern Draw. That one will give you a heavy cedar flavor.
I agree with you on that. This one's supposed to be like earthy and oak to start with. And as of right now, I will agree.
Yeah, I definitely get the spice on this one. Flavor profiles, if you don't know, flavor profiles always change throughout the cigar. Usually it's broken up into thirds. It's the first third, second third, and the last third. It's usually how they go through these things. You and me have smoked quite a few cigars together, and especially we can attest to flavor profiles change in the last third. Sometimes you'll get hit with a white pepper bomb in the last third and make a silly face or something.
Yeah, that's always the worst. I remember that one we had at that cigar lounge. That was just crazy.
Yeah.
How you was talking about it, and then boom, I got it. He was like, "Yep, I can see."
Yeah. And it was just white pepper on the lips for probably an hour after we finished smoking.
Yeah, definitely. I was trying to get some kind of alcohol, some kind of drink. Nothing worked. I have seen and witnessed myself in a humidor at a brick and mortar where someone couldn't decide which cigar they wanted, and they actually dropped it, and they did not purchase that one. They placed it back in the box. So I go with your buy two, because let's say I bought one and I bought that one that he dropped. Now I'm smoking it, it split, it cracked, it's just not smoking right, and now I'm upset. But if I bought two, then I could test a theory saying that, hey, this one may have construction problems, unknowing to me that it was dropped. So I'm glad I bought two. So I agree with you on that buying too.
Well, yeah, and they're all, cigars are, they're handmade in a factory. They're all hand rolled by people, and people make mistakes, whether they roll them too tight, too loose, maybe put too much of a different binder or filler in there that's just not correct for the cigar. So, that's why I'm always saying, even if you love the flavor profile of that cigar, I don't always believe that it's going to be the exact same from cigar to cigar to cigar. Even if you could smoke a whole box from the same company, from the same batch, and you might get different flavor profiles from cigar to cigar within a box, because they are handmade.
That's true. Handmade. The water could be different at one side of the crop than it could be on the other. The soil. There's so many different variables that goes into these things.
Well, and Southern Draw, they named the cigar 300 hands because it takes about 300 hands for a cigar to go from the tobacco leaf in the field to a cigar that you're holding in your hand smoking. So you got to think about 300 hands have touched this cigar, so to speak. Whether that's rolling it, distribution, packing it, selling it, to you smoking it. About 300 hands it takes per cigar, which is a lot. That's very man-hour intensive, labor intensive.
Yeah, that's putting a lot of time behind just for me to sit back here and enjoy
and watch it all go up in smoke.
That's fine. Because it's so therapeutic and relaxing, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. But, you know, as much as I love these things, there's those people that I always tend to call ash holes, you know? They're the guys in cigar lounges or cigar bars that are just, whatever's wrong with them. They just irk me to no end, you know? And so, you know, me and Dice came down, tried to get a list of 10 do's or don'ts to make sure that you're not that ash hole. There's 5 do's, 5 don'ts.
I am going to start off with one do that you should do at a cigar lounge. Do.
Not endorsed by.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Do look over cigars to make sure there's no cracks, no bug holes, no mold, and that some ash hole didn't drop it and put it back in the box.
100%. This goes back to, you know, exactly what we were talking about. You know, some dude drops the cigar and then puts it back. Or the lounge. I've picked up cigars out of a lounge and I looked at them and there's straight up green mold growing in the foot of the cigar. And I just sit there and I point it out and they tell me it's plume. And you know, there's the great plume versus mold debate, and I'm not getting into it. I don't want to even touch it. It's not even worth it. Show, buddy. Yeah, it's not even worth it. But normally if it's in the foot of the cigar, it is mold and not something that you should take a puff of, because it will get you sick. So absolutely, 100%. Look over it.
I'm picking up a cigar and it has plume versus mold. Like you said, I don't want to get into it. But if I'm at a cigar lounge and I'm picking up something, I don't want to see that any version on a cigar that I'm picking up at a cigar lounge that I'm spending actually pretty good money at to enjoy the atmosphere of a lounge.
Yeah, so actually I went to a lounge and I picked up, I think it was a My Father cigar, and I looked and it just had the whole box was just plume ridden. I say plume ridden. Every cigar in that box had plume. And I asked the guy, I said, hey, is this not a high turnover cigar? Does that mean that it's a bad cigar and you guys are just trying to get rid of it? And he goes, no, we're proud of our plume.
Proud of the plume. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go get something else that doesn't have plume on it, and you can keep your plume cigars.
That's crazy that a cigar place would do that.
It was mind-boggling to me. I haven't been back to that place since that experience, because I wasn't happy with it.
Well, that's the importance of having a good cigar lounge that you visit frequently, having a good brick and mortar, a nice group of guys, somewhere you can go.
Absolutely. You know, and another I would say a don't is, man, and we have witnessed this together in cigar lounges, where some ash hole, right, will get done smoking their cigar and they'll dab it out like a cigarette.
Like you in the wrong lounge, buddy.
Yeah, and what that does to those who don't understand it or don't know, or maybe smoke alone, and that's okay. If you're smoking alone and you're outside or you're in your own place or whatever, do you, boo. I don't care. But if you're in a lounge, don't do that, because what that does is that releases all the ash and all the burnt up smoke that's still holding in your cigar over where your mouth was, holding on to it, and it just releases it into the air and it makes it smell disgusting in the lounge, smokes up the entire place, and nobody's happy about it. So what you want to do, if you're done with your cigar in a lounge, you set it down in their tray and you just let it go out, and they'll take care of the rest.
Correct. And that's the biggest pickup from a lounge, is they got to take care of the rest. Yes, you should let your cigar rest and let it go out on its own. That's a living, breathing thing. But as a cigar lounge, a good cigar lounge is going to take care of that right away, because even with that sitting around, it's going to cause a type of odor that's just going to linger in the air, and it's not going to be pleasant for other cigar smokers, and can actually ruin the flavor profile of some other cigars.
100%. That's why, this is not on our list, but we'll add in a freebie. I don't like a lounge, and maybe you're different. I don't personally like a lounge where the owner, the manager, the store attendant, whatever you want to be, goes into the humidor smoking a cigar.
Correct.
It bugs me to no end.
That just, to me, it shows that it's very amateurish.
Yeah.
Amateur hour. Someone that doesn't fully understand or just doesn't care. Maybe he's just there to get a paycheck. I've seen a few people like that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you sipping on? What do you got there?
Oh, well, I got some nice little Glen Morangi. Morangi? I'm going to say Morangi because I think it's more special. But it's a Glen Morangi 12-year Scotch.
There's nothing wrong with a little Scotch.
Scotchy Scotch. What are you slipping on?
What we already know is Hennessy. That's what I drank. That's what I'm all drink on Jesus' birthday.
His birthday?
This is it. Copyright to no one, Cat Williams, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I put a little twist in it because I want to bring out some more fruity flavors to kind of coincide with my cigar. So I added a blood orange slice to mine. Fancy.
You know, it's funny. My wife actually, I asked her, I said, hey, could you make me a drink? And she goes, well, what do you want to drink? And I said, oh, just surprise me. She goes, do you want to be like Dice and drink Hennessy? And I just started laughing. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'll leave that to Dice.
Well, I will try to change it up a little bit on this podcast. But as of right now, my fellow listeners, Hennessy is what Dice drinks.
I can guarantee you that I will almost always be drinking Scotch. I tend not to pair with beer too much anymore. Not that I don't like it, but the type of flavors of the beer that I want, I don't know, just it fills me up too much and just makes me uncomfortable. You know, to get the good flavor of beer that I want, the fuller beers and stuff. So I tend to be sparing when I pair a cigar with beer.
That makes sense. I think with beer, you're supposed to try to aim towards like a very light body, very mellow.
Yeah, I think it depends. You know, and I'm a super fan of mixing my pairings. I have paired the same cigar with a coffee, with some Scotch, and with a beer. And to me, the Scotch just brought out all the right flavors for me. So you know, everybody's got to do their own thing.
Let's get back to the list. So we got one do, one don't.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'm gonna introduce another don't. Let's go with a don't. So when you go to a brick and mortar cigar lounge and you're going to hang out with your buddies, don't take your own cigars there. The brick and mortar needs to stay in business. That's what they're there for you to hang out and enjoy their atmosphere. So while you're there, you might as well pick up one, or as my friend Austin here likes to pick up two at a time, and just sit back and enjoy. Don't be that asshole that brings your own little collection of cigars in there and just to enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've had people go to cigar lounges with their own cigars. And now I have been guilty of this. Say it ain't so, but I have been guilty of this. But what I do, if I go into a cigar lounge, I'll bring some cigars with me and I'll leave them in my car. And then when I go into the cigar lounge, if there's just nothing that strikes my fancy at that moment, I'll still buy a couple cigars to try for later, and then I'll smoke my own. And I'll just swap them out because I usually carry a travel humidor. That way, I'm still supporting that brick and mortar lounge, but you know, I get to smoke what I want to smoke at the end of the day, because there are sometimes, you know, not every brick and mortar is going to carry what you want. You know, you and me witnessed that dang near every lounge we went to over there.
Yeah, when you say over there, you're referring to Las Vegas. Currently, I'm living in Las Vegas, and Austin had the privilege of coming for a few. So we visit quite a plethora of lounges with different features.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they didn't have everything we was looking for. So I can definitely understand where you're coming from. But the point is, you still purchase something to support that brick and mortar. Because what a lot of people don't understand, these brick and mortars, they still got to pay the bills. They still got to pay for that cable package that you watching the NBA.
They got to pay for overhead. Yeah. Or pay for the heat or air.
That guy that's walking in the humidor smoking.
Yeah. Or the cocktail waitress that ignores you after you ask her for an old fashioned 3 times, you know?
That's fine. Eventually you get the old fashioned, eventually. But no, we had good experiences. We had bad experiences. As with any industry, it's just like the restaurant industry. There's good restaurants, there's bad restaurants. You know, and it's the same thing with anything. So I always say, you know, just
if you go there once, again, if you go there once and it's bad, go there again, just to see if it's any different. Maybe a person had an off day, maybe you just got the bad guy and you don't like that particular individual, or he or she didn't serve you right, whatever. Go there again. I fully support our brick and mortar places. I always enjoy that. I will try to go back to that one that said they were proud of their plume eventually. When I get the courage. I just haven't made it over there yet, but I will be searching, because I got to fill up my humidor for sure. So back to the list. I guess I'll do another don't
put your slobbery mouth all over the end of your cigar and then ask to use somebody's cutter, or worse, use the community cutter, man.
It just bugs me to no end, and I had to tell my guy, I was like, nope, try again, bud. I got a knife you can use if you want to make a little cut in your cigar, because I don't use the knife for eating, because I carry a pocket knife. But that's what I ended up giving him. I was like, you can have this. He's like, why can't I use your cutter? No, bud. I ain't doing it. This is my cutter. I don't want your germs. I ain't kissing you on the lips.
I was just about to say, I don't kiss you good night. So
yeah. If it was my wife asking me that's one thing. Me and her share germs all the time.
Did you call him an asshole?
No. I called him a straight up asshole though. I was like, man, you an asshole.
I'll be like, oh man, why you call me that?
Yeah, nope.
Let me explain something to you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Absolutely, and that's the thing. Sometimes, maybe you're new to smoking, or maybe you're a buddy got you into it and has tried to set you up, and you're like, hey, I want to go to a lounge, or hey, maybe you've been smoking for a little while, but you order all your stuff off of Cigars websites. These are just common tricks and tips to kind of help out. Make sure that you don't be that guy.
Right. Well, with that, let's throw another do in there.
Okay.
All right. This do has to do mainly with being at your house, enjoying your cigars with your buddies at the house. You want to by all means, properly humidify your cigars. You don't want to put them in the fridge. You don't want to leave them out in the open. You want to put them in your humidor with some kind of humidifying device. Different temperatures for different climates. I keep mine around 67. I'm in a drier climate.
You're talking about 67% humidity or 67 degrees temperature? 67%
humidity. The temperature rise and fall. I try to keep it around 70, but that's really hard to do where I'm located, because it just gets hot. It's the desert. It's just going to get hot.
Yeah, unless you have a humidor like mine, that is basically I have an old Winador that is now a humidor. So it's refrigerated for me, so it keeps them right around 66. Which is perfect. The rule of thumb that I heard when I first got into smoking, and it's all different, is the 70-70 rule. I don't know. Did you hear that when you first started smoking?
I did hear that. My problem is the 70 was a little too high, and it caused my cigars to actually crack. Yeah,
and every cigar is a little bit different too. So I personally, for humidification, I personally throw in Boveda packs. They're so easy to maintain. I throw in 69% Boveda packs all day, every day. And in my humidor, I set it, forget it. And I check them every now and then. When I go in there, I pick out a cigar or two to smoke for the night. I check and make sure they're still squishy. And then if I make an order or go to a brick and mortar, I'll go pick some extras up and I'll throw those back in there.
That actually works very well. I'm a little lazier than that. I tend to forget to check them. So I use Cigar Oasis. It uses like a sponge-like apparatus, so to speak, to keep everything humidified. And then when it gets too dry, it beeps. And when it beeps, everybody in my household lets me know, hey, your humidor is beeping. That's my cue to go change it out.
Yep. And there's other things. I had a friend who actually worked at a cigar lounge for a short period of time. She used, it was basically a 69% humidity solution in the water beads in like a jar with holes on top, and that would release the humidity. And then all she had to do was put more of that solution back into the water beads. It would soak it back up and it would just keep going like that. So it was easy to rehumidify. She just had to keep buying that solution, and that works too. I started on Boveda packs. I love Boveda packs, so that's what I kept going with.
Well, the Boveda packs is Set it
Yeah.
and forget it, like you said. I mean, you check to see if it's squishy. They normally last up, what, 3 months, 4 months?
Depending on how many you have and the type of seal you have. You know, if you have a glass top humidor that's not really well sealed, because those glass tops tend to leak a little bit more, unless you like kind of seal them with some like caulk or something like that. Don't use caulk. There is a special type of silicone sealant that you can use that is not going to alter the taste of your cigars, but you know, if you use that, you could kind of seal them up a little bit better. But yeah, if I don't know, I have quite a few in my humidor, and the great thing about Boveda packs is they breathe. They'll intake humidity and they'll outtake the humidity. So if you just throw all of a whole bunch of Boveda packs into the humidor with 3 sticks in it, that they're going to stay the same humidity no matter what. Period. It's a permeable membrane, so it goes back and forth, which is why I like it.
Like I said, easy to use, easy peasy.
100%. That's what I got started, and I let it go. All right, what do you think? Throw another do in there?
And balance it out.
All right, let's do another do. So I would say the biggest thing that was a challenge for me starting in cigars, and man, I laugh at myself to this day, but you have to, when you're smoking cigars, you have to go off of, you have to step outside of your comfort zone, for sure.
Yes.
For sure, you have to step outside your comfort zone. I used to smoke nothing but Gurkha cigars. And now there's nothing wrong with Gurkhas. A lot of people trash on them. That's okay. Some people like them. Great. But those things are so peppery and so not my flavor profile that I prefer. But I was like, this is what I have to do to be cool. You know, back when I was younger. And I was like, that's what I'm just going to go with, because I like Gurkha. Gurkhas, I know Gurkha, because it's an easy brand to kind of remember. And they have cool bands, which is what drew me to them in the beginning. You know, I'm very much a band person when I try new cigars. But you got to step outside your comfort zone. And then I started smoking, you know, Connecticut's, and I started smoking Habanos and some Maduros that are chocolatey and full-bodied and stuff like that. And it's just opened my palate up to so many. And I have so many cigars in my humidor that are all just different flavor profiles that I can't even get over. It's great because that's what I love doing. Now, the caveat to this is, and you and me have talked about this, I think I would say that I have failed at this, and I think I would say you're better at this than I am. You need to keep a cigar journal for your cigars that you have tried. I can't tell you how many times I have smoked 2 of my new cigars and I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever, and blah blah blah, and I love this cigar, and this is the flavor notes that I'm getting, and and I get it all, and it's like, oh, this is great. And I out, and I put it away, go to sleep, wake up next, at the end of the week, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to pull out some other cigars. Man, what was that one cigar I tried that one time? Man, I don't remember. It kind of looked like this, but I don't remember. And it's gone, and now I got to rediscover that cigar, and I got to try to find it again. And it bugs me because I fail at it all the time because I don't take the time to actually journal them correctly. But I would say that you do way better at that than I do.
Yeah, I 100% try to keep track of what I like and what I don't like, because one thing I hate is rebuying cigars that I've tried, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember, I don't like this. It's a pepper bomb, or it's just too full of a body, or it's too mellow. I have to keep track of them. A pitfall to that is if you're a box buyer. Now, I will admit, I am not a box buyer. But when you buy a box of cigars, then you are holding on to 10 to 20 of the same cigar. And what happens is you eventually burn yourself out. Because if you're like me and not a box buyer, you're going to be stuck with them until you smoke enough to where you want to purchase other singles. Yep.
And that actually happened to me. I got a deal on the internet. And it was buy a box of Oliva Serie V, which are great cigars.
Great cigar.
Great cigar. Love it. And I got like 8 more of the same type. Oliva Serie G, Oliva Serie V, Milanios, all of these things. And they're good, but man, I've been smoking on them for over a year now, and I'm so burnt out on Olivas. I'm so burnt out on them. I have one more in my humidor, and I told you, I don't want to even smoke it. I don't even want to smoke it right now because I'm just so burnt out on Olivas. So if you're going to buy a box of cigars, for sure, make sure it's something that you like. Make sure it's something Yeah, love is a better word.
Now, you mentioned how you was like waiting to get out of your Gurkha phase, so to speak. Well, I was a little worse off, sir. I was a little worse off. When I first started, forgive me, but I smoked the fruity cigars. I smoked those gas station cigars. Yeah.
Yeah,
Strawberry Swishers, Phillies. And then when I grew up a little bit, I got some actual premium cigars, but it was still kind of fruity. Nothing against people that smoke acids and all those type cigars.
Nothing. But I've had acids that I enjoy.
But once I stepped out of that fruity, flavorful comfort zone, I started enjoying a whole lot more. My spectrum of cigars have grown tremendously. So,
100%. Because when I got out of the Gurkha phase, I went to Connecticut. I was like, you know what? I started doing research. I started listening to podcasts, like kind of like what making the people made for new cigar smokers, and they encouraged me, get out of your comfort zone. Got to get out of your comfort zone. Go try something that you've never had before. And they started talking about Connecticut's and how they're lighter, and then the Habanos and then the Maduros and all of these other type of flavor profiles. And I was like, man, let me try. You know what? Screw it. Let's just go with the Connecticut. It's a light body. I'm going to try it. I'm going to pair it with the coffee, because usually they're kind of coffee-ish notes. I said, it's light, mellow. Let me give it a shot. I tried a Camacho Connecticut. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Went back the next week or whatever it was. And I've just been on a kick since then. So,
well, I'm going to share another do, since we're talking about sharing cigars and upping our game.
Oh, yeah.
When you go to a cigar lounge, by all means, you have to socialize. And nothing fits this topic more perfect than when you came to Vegas to visit, and we went to Tobacco Leaf, sitting in the back, and everybody looked us up and down, and it was like, who you? who the fuck is this? So.
Oh man, guys, I gotta tell you it was the funniest thing in my life, because I'm sitting in the back room with my boy, and people walked in, and they knew Dice, not easily offended, for sure.
Yeah, and so that's an open fire zone right there.
100%. So you got to be able to take it, dish it, whatever it is, but you got to make sure that you talk to people. Cigars are definitely a social activity. They had a big screen, they had a football game going on, and we were talking with a guy worked at UPS, and we were talking, and it was great, and I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Every time I've gone to a cigar lounge, I try to talk to people. Don't be that guy that's sitting over on your phone, guy or gal, that's sitting over on your phone or your laptop. Now there's times for that. If you want to go to a cigar lounge and do homework rather than a coffee shop, go for it. I'm not gonna rag on anybody for doing that. But man, if you're going there just to smoke, and you're just by yourself or whatever, sit and talk with people. You will never know the kind of people that you meet at a cigar lounge.
Cigar lounges are one of the few places where it doesn't matter if you are a doctor, dentist, surgeon, you can sit there and rub elbows with a garbage man, regular maintenance guy that changes oil on a car. I mean, it's all walks of life that sits in there and enjoy the wonderful Zen meditation, calm, cool, relaxing of smoking a cigar. The atmosphere just brings everyone together, in my opinion. I love it. I wouldn't change anything about it.
With that, let me throw another don't in there. Ain't nobody want to sit in there and talk and listen to how you only smoke Davidoff, how you only cigars that cost $20, how you only smoke, whatever. I've had cigars that were $3, and I'm like, this is a budget stick, but man, it's flavor in it, and it's really good.
Yeah, you can always spot it when someone is being that guy, because they're normally talking louder than everyone else should. They're normally causing more of a ruckus, and it's just like a showboating tone in their voice when they're trying to speak. Like, there's no need for that. Everybody's on the same even playing field in a cigar lounge. If you want to smoke your $20, $30 cigar, by all means, go ahead. But my Charter Oak that only costs $5 smokes just as good, buddy.
Yeah, flavor is just as nice. Yeah, I've seen it seen it both ways, and it just goes crazy.
That's the way it's got to be, and that's the way it's going to be. One thing I noticed at a cigar lounge that some people may or may not do. I don't know. I haven't really seen someone do it. I only seen it one time, and I don't know if it was on accident or on purpose. But they try to smoke through the actual cigar band. I don't know why anyone would want to do that unless it's advertised as that's the type of cigar you can do it with. But